11 serious vulnerabilities were found in an operating system that most people don't know about.
So John, it sounds like there's a number of vulnerabilities in an operating system that most people probably haven't heard of,
Right.
but chances are they may have something that runs this operating system in their house somewhere.
The vulnerability was found by Armis researchers. They're a security company, I believe. And it was research about the WebRiver VxWorks real-time operating system. It's an operating system that is actually, I believe the number they said was like in 2 billion devices, but most people never heard of it. And it's because of what it's used for. So, things like industrial control machines and medical appliances.
Sometimes it's used in home routers. I mean, I've
Right.
heard of other, just consumer hardware that runs VxWorks because they needed an operating system.
So a big firewall or appliance company that uses it is Sonic for Sonic Wall. I think is the firewall appliance, and some of their Sonic OS uses VxWorks. So for this particular set of vulnerabilities, actually, they're naming it Urgent 11 because they are 11 bundle, all around, I believe, the TCP/IP stack used within the VxWorks operating system. So all the vulnerabilities were around something to do with the way that the packets were being created, and they were able to do things like buffer overflow, or just maybe do certain things in the options that would create certain conditions that would allow them to do.
So basically the stack isn't validating the input that it's getting, and it's allowing you to overwrite a buffer somewhere and get a remote code execution, maybe?
So that is the scariest one, yes. Okay. So I believe they have 6 of them, 6 of the 11 that are allow remote execution.
Okay.
And because so many of things like a firewall would 100% be exposed to the internet, it's a big deal. So just for those that are using it, I assume they might already know that this has been patched, so that Armis has been working with the company
with
WinRiver to make sure that their customers that might have versions that are vulnerable getting it patched before they release this. So they're going to be presenting it for the first time during Black Hat next week. So. But they released it early just so people can get a read on it and understand what's going on, and to warn everybody that might have still running an older version. I believe they have patched, I think, some versions of 6, but version 7, their latest version that came out in July, is no longer vulnerable to this particular set of vulnerabilities.
So what would you say people should do about it?
Patch if you are running a version that is not running the latest OS, but also companies. Most of the companies actually, like the Sonic Wall appliance, will have their own patches. So
I think it's significant that people are paying attention to VxWorks. I feel like it's not a household name, but those people who are in the know about security understand that it does have a wide deployment across a wide range of devices. And if there's no patch, maybe it's time to consider a different device?
No, so that's what makes this type of operating system a little more dangerous, I think, because they run in things that are not easy to patch or remove from their current working status. For example, I believe the Mars rover runs on VxWorks. So, I assume the Mars rover...
Does the Mars rover have any open ports we should
I was going to say,
right?
it's probably not on the open internet, but they're, but because they have remote execution capabilities, you can break into, a firewall, and then from there, actually, you can just broadcast that malformed, IP packet, and you don't even have to, do reconnaissance or anything.
You just find you more boxes to pop.
Just broadcast the bad packet, and you see what else is, what it hit, and you'll, if you just stumble upon maybe a industrial control somewhere has a lot of, PLCs, for example, that are running a vulnerable VxWorks version. That's it.
Wow. Keep an eye out, I would say. And if you are skittish about it, if you're running things like control systems that run off of VxWorks, Until you have a way to patch them, maybe it's time to isolate them from the networks that they're on.
So it's scary in that sense, and there are things that are very difficult to patch. For example, in a medical appliances have to go through, I believe, the FDA to even allow a patch.
Yep.
So it's not like they can just patch it. The software has to be approved by a government body.
And in the meantime, you still have to run your medical appliance.
And you still have people hooked up to this thing. So yeah, so it's scary. So I would say patch quickly, and yes, for sure, it kind of puts us in a place where we have to think about, there are other things than Windows, Linux, Mac, right? Like, I'm glad that researchers are looking into these operating systems that are very widely used, that not everybody talks about, that there might not be, for example, like, I love being able to do like linting and stuff and like software development, but like, I don't know if there is that kind of tooling for someone writing software here. I have no idea, right? So it will be interesting to maybe get the word out there and maybe get more researchers exploring things like, these operating systems that are not as widely talked about in the media. Sometimes this vulnerabilities come out is because they found it being used, and in this case, it's good news. So yeah, patch now before someone figures out how to do it and start exploiting all the appliances.